business coach. Every week I get to interview another great business coach. I got Reggie in from Wilmington, North Carolina. Hey, Reggie.
Hey, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good.
Good.
Now,
Good to have you.
you've come in from Wilmington. You're coaching business owners in Wilmington. I get to come and teach there every now and again.
Right.
Today, though, we're going to talk about some of your favorite clients over the years. It doesn't mean any of the clients are bad ones, but it means that, we're going to look at the favorites.
Right.
So tell me about one of your favorite clients, because I want to get the lessons from them that everyone on our show can learn. What do they need to learn that these clients learn that help them grow their business?
Well, the first one is the one that I've been with, that's been with me the longest.
Right.
Currently around the longest.
Hence favorite status.
That's right. Yeah, you stay longer, you get more favor. It's Gretchen. She has a massage therapy practice and an acupuncture practice. Started out as a massage therapy practice.
So she's added another business.
She's added another business. I started working with her as a massage therapist, self-employed, working out of her house.
Right.
Doing 12, 15.
The one-person business, the solopreneur.
Yeah, self-employed, 12 to 15 treatments.
How's she doing now then?
Man, all right, so fast forward 12 years.
Wow.
She now has 2 different businesses and does anywhere between 150 to 175 treatments a week now.
So she went from doing it just by herself.
Right.
Now 175 treatments every week.
20 employees.
Fantastic.
So what has been really cool about that journey?
Yeah.
It has been watching her grow and develop organically. There's been no outside investment, cash infusion, nothing like that. She has grown that business organically.
Fantastic.
From self-employment to 20 employees.
So what are the top few things that Gretchen had to learn that everyone here would, if they want to grow from 0 to 20 employees, what do they got to do?
I think the first thing that we did was she got really, really good at marketing. Marketing and repeat business. She was a single mom when she was a self-employed person, and man, she had to have rebookings.
Right.
And so, man, you didn't get out of the massage room without booking the next appointment. Where so many people in her industry,
I think people, but that's not just for her industry. That's
right.
Every industry. If you're not focused on rebooking your client to the next appointment or any type of business about when's the next sale, repeat business equals profit. Remember that.
Yeah.
So that was a big thing. So when you say you had to get good at marketing, what specifically did she do?
She was doing. Her only marketing form was referrals and the phone book. She won a phone book at a charity auction thing. She won a phone book ad.
Yeah.
And she was really good with that phone book ad. But when I started working with her, we got her in making her website far more effective, using the principles that we teach in Action.
Yeah.
Headline, marketing talking points, addressing the frustrations, fears, concerns of the marketplace.
I don't think enough people edit their website anywhere near enough. And always the top thing on their webpage is their company name.
That's
Instead
right.
of a headline. Come on, get the headline
and
up
services,
there.
they talk about what they do, not why you should choose them.
The interesting thing about marketing is that if the person reading it isn't the champion, if you are the champion of your marketing, you lose. If they're the champion of the marketing, that you win.
We back that up with a video that communicated that, and when you see Gretchen, man, you trust her, you like her, and all the fears, frustrations, concerns that people have with getting a massage, getting naked on the table, and somebody touching me like that, so she is very good at making you feel comfortable that you're going to go through that with her, and that was really important. And then we backed that up with throwing some web marketing at that, doing some paid ads and SEO, and really shot traffic that direction.
Yep.
And we had more businesses she could deal with,
so hence the number of employees.
We started adding team members and those kind of things now.
Fantastic.
And of course on that journey, what became tough with that was, man, she is on the DISC scale, she's a lot of I, she's a little bit of D, so on the DISC
So that
scale,
means she's outgoing, people-oriented, a little bit of task-orientation.
Yeah, a little bit, but mostly people-oriented, distracted by bright, shiny objects, and not the type of person that...
So you're telling me a business owner had to learn to focus?
Yeah,
I've never seen that.
And also be tough on employees. Like that's, being tough on employees wasn't a natural thing for her. So that was not, she didn't have training in that area. So
holding them accountable,
right.
doing that sort of
and
stuff.
And growing them. So she has grown dramatically. One of the things that have really helped her, because her practitioners are self-employed. They're contractors. And, a lot of people have the issue with, I don't control subcontractors. I can't make them do anything. Yeah. And a lot of people have that head trash. We can't make them do anything. We can't. Well, she has really not only done a great job of growing and developing and coaching them, like taking her experience with coaching with us with me, and then transferring that to them,
Right.
and growing and developing them. So she has grown into somebody that can manage, and not only just manage, but coach and develop and grow her team. And that's
Fantastic.
been really cool to watch.
You know, I think that it's interesting that if you really want to grow your business, you've got to grow yourself. And that's I guess, Gretchen's second biggest lesson is grow yourself so you can grow your team. Who's the next favorite client? What's some of their story?
Next favorite, man. This one's a tie, but Fred. you know Fred. He local. He has a local window coverings company. He also does custom closets, those kind of things. And they so started working with Fred 7-8 years ago. And he was kind of plateaued where he was at and was ready to go to the next level.
This is an important thing. If your business is plateaued, it's because you've plateaued. Your knowledge base is plateaued. And I think that if Fred came to you, he obviously understood he had to grow.
Yeah, and so the time we started working together, so first he was like, I want to work on systems, and I want to work on, leverage type things and lowering chaos. I was like, Fred, would it be okay if we just focus on making some money first? Let's make some money, because you just climbed out of financial hot water. Let's, instead of focusing on the systems and the warm fuzzy team building stuff, let's make some money first.
Yeah.
And then let's buy time back and buy systems. And it was like, all right, let's do that. We started doing that. We increased revenue.
What was the revenue increase?
Yeah, and so what's happened is over the years, we've increased revenue since we started working together about 5-fold.
Right.
Actually 5-6-fold.
Okay.
But
so that's 500-600%, gang.
Yeah. So he's grown his revenue 600%, but he has only grown his team 3-fold.
Right.
So
productivity increases.
Productivity increased.
So what did he have to learn then in order to grow the business? What's the lessons everyone can take from Fred?
What he had to learn was growing and developing his team, like growing his team to become more, because he was getting world-class coaching, training, development. Fred's been at the last 5 business excellence forums. He was growing, getting world-class coaching and training and development, but his team wasn't doing that, so he outgrew his team. And he would, and his people that hung with him for a while, he was getting frustrated with them, because they weren't growing at the same pace he was.
Well, if you don't invest in your team, you can't grow them. I mean, you got to train your people. So that was, obviously, he had to allocate budget to training. He had to allocate time to training. How did you get Fred to learn? Because this is something that a lot of business people struggle with, right? Oh, I got to take them out of their job. I've got to send them to training. That's time away. I got to pay them to go to training.
Yeah, he really invests in his people. Yeah, he's a little bit of a thief is a strong word, but he's a copycat for sure. He has taken what I've done with him, our coaching practices, processes, and principles, and he just
does it
with his team.
Fantastic.
And he takes our coaching sheet, he modifies it a little bit, and makes it suit his business, and he uses it. And they have to do. And so he has weekly one-to-ones. He also does a good job of building relationships and camaraderie. He invests. He does a State of the Union. He takes a day, closes the business down a day, first of the year, after like January, and does State of the Company.
Fantastic.
To where he's like, this is where we're headed this year. They brainstorm, and they're part of building.
So his leadership and management skills have increased dramatically.
Dramatically.
What's one or two very specific things that people can copy from him?
The taking time to systemize your team development process.
Right.
Weekly one-to-ones. Every week without fail, meeting with them, seeing where they're at, weekly coaching sessions, help them grow, make adjustments, course corrections. Also,
so he does that with these senior people, and then they do that with their junior people.
They do it with their team. Yeah. Right. Training development. If they need sales help, he'll bring in a sales trainer and he'll help train them. But he really just develops his staff. Also, he's gotten really good at empowering them. By the way, carrying them to conference. He brings. Last year, he brought 5 of his team members to the Action Coach conference. So not
that way he gets, instead of him having to go home and teach everything that he learned, he brings them and they go home and
there's no way he could teach them everything he learned there. So the first year he brought his first employee back, man, she was on the Kool-Aid with him.
Right.
She was sipping the same, same flavor, and then next year he brought more people, and every year he brings more people.
Yep.
And and as a result from that, his people are growing and growing. And
if you want your business to grow your people.
He's got a real manager that's a little timid, just a little reserved, and he was so proud. She came back from BEF, and Fred was out. A week or so after that, and somebody needed to go, and she said, "Fred, I just want to let you know, our warehouse guy, he wasn't cutting it. I want to let you know that we put our heads together, and we said he doesn't fit our culture. We fired him." and that is somebody like that person 2 or 3 years ago
would never have done that.
Would have said, "I want you to do it," Fred would have had to force her to make that move.
Yeah.
So he's really developing and growing his people to more, and so he's able to have 6 times revenue growth with only 3 times team growth, and that's evidence of growing a team.
Yeah. That's fantastic. So who else? Who else we got?
So Brian, who owns a company called the Computer Warriors.
Right.
Man, this is a massive action guy.
Right.
This is a high DI on the disc scale. So he's driving, outgoing, very people oriented, man, and he doesn't do anything.
And growth for him? How long has he been with you?
So he has been with me for about 5 years.
Right.
So he's increased sales probably in the neighborhood of I'd say 400 or 500%. In that
just
range.
400 or 500%.
Yeah. He's gone from.
I want to just stop for just a second, right? We as coaches sit here and we just go, "Oh yeah, they grew by 600%," as if that's just natural. People watching this are going to be going, "What do you mean they grew by 600% in a few years?" Because that's year on year, 60, 70% growth. That's massive. That's exponential growth, the pulling profits concept. What are the top 3 things he learned to do that? What are the top 3 things he had to change to do that?
Yeah, so that personality style, if you're familiar with it, the archetype of that is somebody who is a control freak and likes to do everything himself. Now, he leads with that high D. If you got to do it right, it's got to be done by
yourself.
And so that was the way he rolled.
So letting go was his first lesson.
So really him learning how to release and empower his team to do more. Really kind of getting him to release and realize to achieve his dreams and goals and have some family time and balance. I mean, this is a guy that had 3 children. They were all small. One was being born along the way. He was
so
working
he needed
6,
time.
7
He
days
needed
a week.
to get out of the
business. He
was
stressed, and he was just trapped in his business because he had to be the superhero. What you talked about one time.
Superhero complex.
Superman syndrome, man. Problem existed, man. He put on his tights and he fixed it. So what we taught him...
Let go.
We taught him how to, first of all, hire better people.
Yeah.
We taught him the action hiring process and how to do that effectively. Man, you talk about somebody that owns that process and follows it religiously. So he got some great people. The other thing is as he was growing those people and really looking at people with more heart and passion, the 16 cylinders of high performance. He was looking for people he started looking for people with heart and passion as opposed to just skill, which within the IT world, it's often skill-based. So he started finding some people to run his retail division that were more, you don't have to be a high technical person to manage an IT retail store, selling computers and doing repairs. He's not a guy with some heart and some passion, and then he taught him the skill.
Yeah.
And taught him, so finding people with more, people that are hungry, humble, smart, aggressive, the ideal team players, as Patrick Lencioni says.
I like going back to the simple thing around that you can find all of the skill in the world, but that doesn't mean that they're motivated to do what you're doing. It's like you get that conversation with, and if you've ever said this, by the way, I can't get good people, can't find motivated people. Well, that's because you're not hiring people that are passionate about what you're doing. So that's a fantastic lesson for everybody.
So it took the load off of him, and then he started growing a lot personally. He invests more than anybody that I know, more than anybody I know in regards to in the local business community in himself. So he's done some high-level personal development training. He doesn't miss a BEF. He takes his team as well. Same story. He coaches them weekly. He's also started, and he established a strong culture that if you're going to be part of this culture, it's going to be a culture of growth. And if you're not going to grow, you're going to be left behind.
Yeah.
And that has been all right, now let's take a IT manager on the business side, and you start putting in progressive growth, minded type stuff. And if you could imagine the pushback he got. But he kept on, he kept on, he kept on. And at a certain point he had to say, look, man, I'm going here, and if you go here, I'm going to have somebody come in as your boss that's going to grow with me. So it's been awesome to watch his team members break through and transform.
It seems to me there's a very big trend in your clients of growing themselves and growing their people.
That's right. Because if you don't grow yourself, you're not going to be able to grow your business, or it's going to just take more people to accomplish it, and more people equal more frustration, heartache, and pain, and they're likely more lower quality people.
and more costs.
That's right, and more costs.
And therefore less profitability.
Yeah.
So, okay, any last client you want to chat in on it?
So my last one's Blair, who owns a landscaping company.
Right. How long's he been with you?
And he's been with me. He's been with me about 2 years.
Okay, so he's like a new guy in your team.
He's a new guy, and we started off, and I'd love to. The story'd be great if I could disclose numbers, but he was doing. He had a golly, how do I do this without doing the numbers? Let me just say this: he had a business that was doing about $1 million in sales.
Yeah,
and he really wasn't turning much profit.
Right.
And man, this guy...
That happens all too often, though.
Yeah, and he had a lot of employees, he had a lot of frustration, so he was working hard and wasn't making any money. And we really went to work, and I just scratched my head. I was like, man, you got that kind of volume running through your company, and you're not making money. Something's not right.
Yeah.
You've got a margins issue. And we really just focused... And thank goodness for Andrew Johnson taught me this, one of our Hall of Fame and just legendary Mount Rushmore of coaches that we have. And I went to a session of his on finding profits within a business, and we worked on 75% of the time we just worked on margins, and I was man, and I kind of on the 5 ways margins I just didn't have my head around. I wasn't real skilled at, and I said, man, there's just a lot of juice in so much business that we don't squeeze. So this was a perfect business to really focus on margins. And we focused, and we started with disciplines like monthly profit and loss, reviewing monthly P&Ls. And by the way, he's a landscape designer. So Blair is more of a
creative, outside guy.
Yeah, he's a this kind of guy. Like there's a joke about Blair a little bit.
Really?
Like,
here's this detail, Blair. Well, what's that?
and you get him in the backyard and he starts laying his vision out and he starts doing this.
Yeah.
And then that's $10,000.
He should be like on a TV show kind of guy.
So he's a really skilled designer, but that skill set
didn't relate to the numbers.
Didn't relate to financials and numbers.
So he obviously had to learn the numbers and learn that.
And I made him sit down. As part of a coaching session, I would bring in his accountant person who wasn't a trained accountant, but she was really talented, really, really good. She's a quick study. She's really, really smart, but she wasn't a classically trained accountant. So we made them. Neither one of them he wasn't interested in reports, and she didn't give them, and she was frustrated because it was always a cash crunch and always trying to hunt to find money. She wasn't real happy when she hired me without consulting her first, and so until she met me, she was like, all right, this dude's all right. And then we started meeting monthly and reviewing the numbers and seeing what the holes, and we made course corrections and adjustments and course corrections and adjustments. And 2 years later, to see the financial turnaround and profit. So, we just really focused on the numbers. Now we increased sales as well. We tripled sales. But then after doing that,
we tripled sales.
Yeah, we're doing that. Yeah, it's so how our world is so different though. How we looked at the world, like tripling sales is like But what's happened, because we fixed the numbers and what's flowing to the bottom line is just staggering.
Fantastic.
When we fix that part. So seeing that the high fives, like we used to do financial reviews, and you were like, man, Blair's going to flip. like he's going to, because he would lose his mind and get frustrated. And a year ago, he'd make statements like, is this just even worth doing? Is this worth doing? And we kept doing the work, and it was like, man, it's going to get better. And that it got better next month.
Well, sometimes
it really hit.
And this is where, as a business owner, I want you to understand, sometimes it's harder in the beginning. When you start with a coach, it's not easy on day one, because you're going to be confronted with some things that you probably don't want to be confronted about. And that's the thing. So obviously in his case, working the margins, just focusing in on finding the numbers was important, and every business owner's got to learn that.
And so now in our coaching session earlier, a couple of days ago, we reviewed doing divisions numbers. High five. He's like, give me some. Give me some.
So now he knows the numbers.
Yeah.
And now the bottom line is there.
And it's
if you're
just
not knowing your numbers,
That's
don't
right.
expect it to be on the bottom line.
So, man, coaching is fun when, somebody's just internally grateful and you're just changing lives by being able to, build a business that not only is, commercial, but also
Profitable enterprise that works without you.
Now we're working on the work without in part. But, man,
Fantastic.
just to get it, it's really, really cool to watch them grow and watch their lives change as a result of our work.
Well, Coach Reggie, thank you for being here on The Business Coach. This has been another episode. Keep watching, keep learning, and keep growing your business.